Hello and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be going through the running costs of this little beastie here. I've had it now for 4 years, or in March 2020, so 4 years in it. I'm going to go through how much it's actually cost to run for those 4 years. I'm not going to be talking about how it's got into this state or anything like that, because that's a personal thing. That's nothing to do with the running cost of the bike. That's personal to everybody. Maybe one day I'll go through the modifications in detail, but that's not for this video. So this is annual running costs for 4 years and about 8,000 miles of a Ducati 1199S. Stay tuned. Now, like I said, we're going to be running through the costs over the last 4 years just to keep this bike on the road. If anything's broken, if there's been a problem, I'm going to talk about it here now. I've got a few things in front of me on the laptop for everybody. You've got your normal stuff like insurance, MOT, tax and servicing, although especially I'll talk about servicing. The insurance for this bike has cost me, well, it started off about £600 in 2016 when I first got it. I'd been without a bike for 5 years. Got the 1199 in March 2016. The insurance at the start was £600, so I didn't think that was too bad with no claims and a fresh policy. And obviously over the years it's gone down. It went down to around 250 after year 3, and then for some reason it went up last year. I couldn't get it anywhere near, but I actually insured this one and the GSXR for about 450 now on joint policy, so it's not too bad. So that's the insurance out of the way. And I'll cover off anything that's gone wrong in the first year first. So in 2016, fortunately just after I got the bike, so it's still under warranty, the BBS failed. The BBS lives under the seat, it's fixed in the subframe, and it's like a secondary ECU, controls things like the traction controller and that sort of thing, from what I gather. For some reason, I think moisture essentially had got into it and sent it haywire. All the lights were flashing on the dash, traction control was on, then it was off, then the throttle would work, then it was off, then it said I was doing 100 mile an hour. It was a mess. So that was taken back to the dealer. The AA recovered it for me. Unfortunately, the AA dropped it when they got to the dealer, and it cost them a couple of grand to get it repaired. Fairings and bits and bobs needed done. I won't include that here because it's an unfortunate incident with this bike, so it's not what a normal person would pay, obviously. So I've not included that here. Now the only other thing that I had done in 2016 was the fork seals. It cost me about £140 and also a new set of SBS pads. Now I didn't service the bike in 2016, it was serviced when I bought it, so there's no need for me to do it, but I did get a service in March 2017. That was done at my local Ducati dealer, which was £300. Unfortunately, at that point, I did need a new set of tyres, so that was another £300 for some probably super courses. And you've got your normal insurance, MOT, and tax, which anybody would pay on this bike. Tax is around £90 a year on this, so any bike over 600cc is exactly the same. Same for the blue one, same for this one. Now that brings us on to 2018. Again, you've got your tax, insurance, MOT. Which work just as normal as would be for anybody else. Service on in 2018 cost me £200. That was with Baines Racing in Silverstone. And I think also in 2018 I picked up a scrub rear, BSB scrub rear Super Corsa, which sort of did me for that year. The front tyre was absolutely fine and lasted into this year actually. So the front tyre actually lasted quite well. The only other thing in 2018 was a bit of work to the starter motor. When I went to start it, or when you press the start button, it would make a horrible screeching noise. I kind of feared that I might need a new starter or what have you, but fortunately everything was taken apart and checked and put back in, and that solved the problem. The noise went away, so happy days. Baines Racing sorted that out for me, very happy with that. I think that was around about £100 to get that sorted, considerably cheaper than what I'd expect a starter motor or whatever it was to get sorted. So moving on to 2019 then. So again, you've got your normal costs, you've got your insurance, your tax, your MOT. MOT, I don't know if I mentioned, is around £30 what I've been paying for this bike over the 3 or 4 years. The only thing, in February 2019 there was a leak on the alternator casing. That was just taken off and put back on. That was about £100 to sort out. Again, maybe a hangover from the starter motor change or refurb or whatever it was, the tinkering in there, because it's exactly the same. It's the same casing, but that was sorted out. The only thing I've had recently, I took the bike to Germany earlier on this year in August. You can see the videos of the trip on the channel. So I did about 1,500 miles on the trip. Wanted the bike to be sorted before I went, so I had a service before I went. Also had a new set of tyres. This time I went for Pirelli Diablo 3s, slightly more road biased tyre than the Supercorsas. Are essentially a road going track day tyre. I know you can get the Corsa 2s, which are quite sticky, but it's not something that I necessarily needed. I wanted something that would last the mileage, essentially. And the Corsa 3s, well, the Diablo 3s got good reviews, and I couldn't fault them on the trip. They went on the ring, they did the mileage on the motorway, they did the twisties absolutely fine, felt really nice on the bike. They were just over £200, 204 I think it was, from Interbikes. And then my local independent Ducati specialist did the service, which was about £220, and that was a full service, check of all fluids, check the bike over before going away, and a couple of other bits and bobs that were in there as well. And that was it for 2019. So as you can see, the bike has cost me very little in terms of repairs for the 4 years that I've had it. So just so you get an idea of how many miles I've done on the bike. In the first year I had it, I did around 2,000. The next year, again, 2,000, 1972. The year after, 2018 into 19, and I did 1,200 miles since the last MOT. I've done 2,711 miles this year, which obviously included the Germany trip. But, I don't think 8,000 miles over 4 years really is too bad considering. So when you work out the miles that I've done and how much that's costing in fuel, again, this is going to be purely down to anybody using the bike, so it's not a fixed cost, is it? But over the 4 years and the 8,000 miles, about £1,316. So for me, to run this bike for the 4 years and what I've paid £3,653.44. It sounds terrible when you say it all in one go like that, doesn't it? That's the equivalent of £81.19. You divide that by the 4 years, less than £1,000 a year, essentially. £900 a year, I think it roughly works out at. Which, you know, to run a super bike isn't too bad. We've already talked about the fact that it's not broken down very often. Touch wood, hopefully it won't next ride because I've said it. And I think it's comparable to any other super bike. Once we add on fuel, the total goes up slightly more. It comes to £4,969.90. So £5 give or take for 4 years worth of running Ducati 1199 Panigale. Now, clearly, my bike isn't standard, it is modified. I may do a separate video to go through all the modifications and what they cost, although that also means admitting it to myself. So we'll have to see how that goes. What I will do, I don't know if it'll go up first or after this video, will be an essential mod list, as it were, as to what I recommend you do to the Panigale. You know, from real world, real life riding the bike for 4 years, what I think are the best modifications for the Panigale. So with that video, there will be a couple of things in there that address the inherent issues, shall we say, with the 1199, or annoyances. It's a good bike, in my opinion. There aren't many things that are really wrong with it. If you don't like Ducatis, you don't like twins, you're not going to like this one. But if you like your super bikes and you like a bike with character and things like that, then you will like the 1199. That's the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been informative. I hope it's been of some use, and hope it's going to help you make the decision as to whether a Panigale is the bike for you. From my experience, I know everyone's experience is going to be different. Some people's bikes will fall apart and be an absolute pain from the day you take them out of the dealership. But this one, a used Panigale, I got it when it was 4 years old, or just turned 4 years old. It's been a great bike. for me so far, and hopefully it'll continue that way. So it's all personal, this is just my experience. These are the bare numbers to do with the bike. If you want to see details of the modifications, a full modification list, or why I've done certain things, check out the video on the top 10 mods for the Panigale. Comment below as if you want to see sort of the detail of the full modifications list on the bike, because they are quite extensive. And maybe one day I can do a video sort of detailing the build. But for now, please subscribe, please like the video, and come back again for some new stuff. Thanks for watching, take care, bye bye.